Hey, welcome to Numbers Don't Lie, powered by Sofascore. It's time that we welcome Colombia into the show, and you guys as well. Hop into the conversation because the topic of today is Luis Díaz, the most complete winger in the world. Maybe not just Colombians, but Bayern Munich fans as well, because the numbers might show that he is, JD.
No doubt about it. This man right here, Luis Díaz, has hit a different level of form. He's adding that South American flair that we have grown to love, but still had that tenacity that he's developed throughout his time, of course, in Europe, with Porto previously, Liverpool, and now, of course, in the Bayern Munich shirt. But this right here is where his heart has always been. From the Copa America in 2021, where he showcased against Brazil and Argentina, to what he did in the third place game against Peru. This guy right here has been a spotlight because he's tenacious. He can do everything that you need him to do in terms of from the minutes played, so you know the durability is there, but the goals and the assists and the expected goals have always been the forefront of Luis Díaz's game. But he's adding an element of consistency right now, Nico, that I just feel like is giving him an opportunity to put himself into the upper echelons of wingers in world football.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he fit in so seamlessly to Bayern with the goals, with the assists, with the big chances created in shots per game. I mean, we're ranking amongst all competitions, but in the top 5 leagues, he is that good, and it's at an astonishing rate as well. Compare him to the wingers in the top 5 leagues with goals and assists, but also the key passes all the way to the right, far right, Luis Díaz, and then his Liverpool teammates, Cody Gakpo and Salah, a little bit further in.
And this is what I feel like allows a great comparison. When you compare it to Gakpo and, of course, what Mo Salah has done, you can see in terms of the impact that Luis Díaz is having every game. And look at some of the names that he's up against. So Rafinha, Vinny, of course, Doku, Yamal, both of the English guys in terms of Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. That lets you know in terms of the company that he's keeping himself in. But it's just overall in terms of the way that Vincent Kompany's unlocked him. We've already known that he's a winger that can go both inside and outside from a tactical perspective, can beat you on the outside, can beat you on the inside, can do everything pretty much overall. But what I've loved about him is added a completely different layer to his game. And look at Bayern's offense and look how much he's complemented it overall. Last year they were flowing, 2.75 in terms of goals per game, but 3.4 this year. The XGs, of course, exceeding expectation, and also everything else, the shots, the big chances, they're just growing. They're growing as a team, and this is all about another key component in terms of Jamal Musiala.
Yeah,
I'm scared when I look at this team and how well Luis Díaz seems to be setting the tone.
You're absolutely right. It obviously helps Luis Díaz's numbers if the team around him is very good. And Harry Kane is an extraordinary footballer who is probably the most complete striker, the most complete number 9 in the world, and they complement each other very well. Yes, no Jamal Musiala, but Bayern and the company this season have found a different type of form, a different way of hurting opponents. And Luis Díaz is not only good offensively, but defensively, he has been quite impressive.
This is why I need my Colombian crew to be loud and proud in terms of in the comments and defend your guy, because the key word that we focused on here was complete. And when we talk about complete players, you're talking about a player that can do it both ways. When I say both ways, I'm talking about both offensively and defensively, because if you watch Luis Díaz, if you watch the tenacity in which he plays with, the determination in terms of every single time he steps on a football pitch, he wants to work in terms of for the overall tenacity for his team. So look at the possessions won in the final third. Look how much a world-class winger like Luis Díaz is setting the tone overall. I don't want to compare to some of the other players in world football. You can see some of these players on the graphic that speak for themselves in terms of Kingsley Coman, Gakpo, of course, Sane, Elise, Salah, Gnabry, just some of the names that we highlighted. But look how far in advance Luis Díaz is in terms of just setting the tone, the ball recoveries, possessions won in the final third. He's impacting the game in the key areas that Vincent Kompany, of course, representing and leading his team like Colombia will want it to be.
He's a workhorse. He gives it to you on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he's tracking back. He's winning balls deep. I think that moment where he tackled Achraf Hakimi was a little bit of a dark moment. He kind of lost the plot a lot of it. But that's Luis Díaz. He's going to track back. He's going to hustle. He's going to want to win the ball. And he just was a lot of it overzealous in that. But look at the possessions in the final third. He loses the ball. He's going to want to win it back. Or his team loses the ball. He's going to want to win it back. And he's up there with a lot of his Bayern teammates, or at least the Bayern mentality, right? In Olise, in Zane, in Coman from last season. He's outperforming them you could say that he's made Bayern better.
Oh, undoubtedly. But I love the question marks that was around him. Some of the German legends like Didi Hamann were questioning whether or not they pay too much overall. Well, let's create the comparison, right? Because the numbers don't lie, as they say. And when you see in terms of what Luis Díaz has performed and what he's produced overall, in comparison to those Liverpool teammates that are new incoming, and of course they've been there and established themselves, I think he looks like he might be a little bit of a bargain. Overall, look at the minutes per goal. That right there screams loud and proud. 121 minutes is when Luis Díaz decides he wants to impact the game. The Sofascore ranking, shout out to them each and every time because his rating is growing every single week. But know that he has scored the same amount of goals and assists as both Gakpo, of course, Ekitike, who's newly arrived, and then Alexander Isak as well.
Pretty incredible, the Liverpool trio. Obviously, it's kind of apples to oranges comparison, just given the overall quality of opponents that they're playing. Bayern is by far much better than everybody else in the Bundesliga, whereas Liverpool, there's questions right now. That's not to say that Luis Díaz isn't quality overall. And it's not that I don't think he's the most complete winger in the world, because I do think he's the most complete winger in the world. But let's take it a step forward.
Go on.
What does he need to do to enter into a serious Ballon d'Or debate? I'm not talking about shortlist. I'm not talking about top 30. I think he's obviously that good to be in a top 30. But look at these numbers. Moving it forward, let's just say Franck Ribéry, who a lot of Bayern fans and a lot of French national team fans think he got robbed in the 2013 year. And we only consider 2013 the calendar year because that's when Ballon d'Or was given. But Luis Díaz, this start to his season has been incredible. You could argue better than the start that Ribéry had in the year that he should have won Ballon d'Or per a lot of people. What needs to happen for him to be in that top 3 debate?
I always say this, you need 3 things. You need a narrative. First of all, you need a story. The move to Bayern, him establish himself, him also forcing his way out of that club in terms of Liverpool, who had won everything in terms of domestically and wanted to establish themselves as this was their reign.
Get that money.
Hey, Luis Díaz said, no, I want to establish myself in a new team. I want to showcase I can do it in a new league and with a new setup. That is number 1, your narrative. Forcing the move and also executing. Number 2, you know you need the numbers. That's always a phenomenal part. You need the foundation, the goals and the assists, the rate that he's scoring at right, Nico. You just compared it to Franck Ribéry. He's one of the best wingers of all time.
If he can continue to do this throughout the rest of the season, but that comes hand in hand, I think, with Harry Kane also performing.
So here's your 3rd point, which is the other part. You have your narrative, you have your stats, but you need your international success. This is an important 12 months for him because that conversation around the world's best footballer also needs to represent what you're doing in your Colombia shirt. A semi-final? A semi-final for Colombia.
Which they've never done before, by the way.
Never been achieved. We've seen the iconic moments they've had from the spider kick to everything else. But actual success, emulating some of the greats that have worn this shirt, i.e. your Falcaos and whatever else, in terms of leading the line for your country, that is what will separate him and put him into a different echelons in terms of conversation. Your thoughts?
I'm thinking of Colombians that have entered a World Cup in better form than Luis Díaz. Falcao, unfortunately, was never able to have that impact because of injury. In 2012, Falcao was on par with Messi and Ronaldo. Yes, I said it. I will defend that to the death because he was that good in that one season. Falcao was world-class, man, but he wasn't able to shine. I'm thinking James Rodriguez. I don't know if James, yes, maybe more important to Colombia national team, but talk about form, Luis Díaz might be unique. And if Bayern wins the Bundesliga, wins Champions League, and then goes further than England, Colombia in the World Cup, I think you have a serious candidate for a Ballon d'Or. Like, just keep an eye out for Luchito.
Keep an eye out on Luis Díaz, but also more importantly, make sure you get involved in the comments. We want to hear from you. Colombian community, this one was purely for you. Bayern Munich, I know you stand by every single one of your players, because you know what time it is here on Numbers Don't Lie.
Hey, thanks for watching this video from Numbers Don't Lie. Be sure to catch our show every Monday at 5 p.m. on YouTube. And for news and insights from leagues all around the world, including Serie A, EFL, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.